Welcome everyone in Nigeria and the rest of the world. I am Gimba Umar. On the screen right behind me, data feeds still coming through in one place simultaneously. You can also be part of this. Just hook on to @Gimba Umar CTV. That's the Twitter handle. Also use the hashtag State of the Nation. Well, we begin with the NLC strike. The federal government on Wednesday summed up the reasons for the all-time increase in the pump price of petrol in the new deregulation regime for the product, saying that it was broke and needed to raise money to keep the system afloat. Let's take a look at the indicators now. The government said that Nigeria's foreign earnings had drastically dropped in the recent times. Experts have argued back and forth, saying that the depletion of the country's reserves is tied to the 2015 elections, where the ruling party then used the country's foreign reserves for elections and to win at all costs. But that's not a story for another day. Today, however, the federal government said that the only way out of the financial quagmire was to look inwards to generate more money. Information Minister Mr. Lai Mohammed disclosed this to the country together with his colleagues, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami, and the Minister of Power, Works and Housing Mr. Babatunde Fashola, and the Labour Minister Dr. Chris Ngige at the end of a Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by the President Muhammadu Buhari himself. Well, the Council met to review most contemporary national issues, which prominently revolved around the fuel price hike, its attendant challenges, and industrial action by the Nigerian Labour Congress, the NLC, which is in effect. He said that the current problem is not really about subsidy removal, it's just that Nigeria is broke, pure and simple. It is like somebody who has been earning about 100,000 naira a month, and then he's faced with a situation where his employer says, henceforth, you will be earning just 10,000 naira a month. He would need to make some very painful decisions and some very painful adjustments as well. That is the situation with Nigeria today. A few months ago, we were earning as much as $100 for every barrel of crude. In the months of February and March, though, we saw crude prices drop to as less as $40 a barrel. So we no longer have the resources or the foreign exchange to bring in refined petroleum products. That's what it means. The impact of this is a shrinking economy. And the question is, does it make sense that everyone must suffer the pain of government's action? Could there be a better way out? Now, also speaking after the Federal Executive Council meeting, the Minister of Labour, Dr. Chris Ngige, denied allegations that the government was encouraging Labour factionalism by negotiating with both the Ayuba Waba and Joe Ajaero-led factions at separate meetings to forestall the planned strike. It has already gone in effect. Dr. Ngige said that the door was still open for talks with the federal government. In his words, we are ready to discuss with anybody, even civil society groups. We as government will not encourage factionalism. If for anything, we are unifying them by bringing them together to talk about issues that concerns their unions and Nigerians. We have a right to talk to whoever we want, and we will open our doors to them for negotiations when they come back, which literally means that the strike may linger for much longer. The Labour Minister also revealed that the federal government has agreed to reconstitute the board of the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency, that's the PPPRA, which was one of the demands by the NLC, of course. According to Ngige, the reconstitution would be done within a fortnight. That was way back then, to accommodate the input of Labour in the new development that Labour has yet to meet with the government. Let's try to make sense of this situation. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, joins me from our Abuja studio. I want to thank you so much indeed for coming on State of the Nation. Let's take a look at some of the things that you have pronounced. What will become of the PPPRA under a deregulated regime? Will the government scrap it?
Of course no, Gimba. No. The PPRA will be more functional now. They will play a major role because they are the pricing arm that will be bringing the templates for the sale of petroleum products, especially the premium motor spirits, which we call petrol, PMS. And they'll be doing this on a monthly basis. Because the price of crude in the international market is not stagnant, it's not stationary. It fluctuates. So the body will be bringing out the templates for the sales. If you go to other clients, that's what's happening. That's why if you go to New York, you go to Maryland states, the price of sales of petroleum products are different. And they change in a fortnight over there. So there is no reason why our own will be stationary. A band has been produced now, 135 to 145, based on what the prevalent prices for crude is now. When the crude drops, they will also produce another band. The price of petrol ought to drop 135 or 135 as the apex, and the lower band of maybe 120, 125. So that's what it is. So PPRA is a 25-man body. Most of the membership are statutory. My ministry has a membership there. Nigerian labor unions, TUC, NLC, Pengasin, NUPENG, they have members there. So it's an all-encompassing body that will now do a lot of work. They'll be on their toes. They will look at plots. They will look at everything and bring out the templates.
Interested. Dr. Chris, tell us more about the
price will
the
not
palliatives.
At 145.
My apologies, okay? Just tell us more about the palliatives that the government is using now to cushion the effects of the strike and the hike in price of petrol. What role will they play specifically?
You see, in the 2016 budget, we already made provisions to take care of unemployment. 500,000 graduates of all categories, bachelor's degrees, master's degree, HND, NCE, will be taken care of. We will get them in, convert them to teachers, emergency teachers, ad hoc teachers, who have pulled out 500,000 persons out from the army of unemployed people. The breeding point for people to go and get membership for Boko Haram, membership for IPOB, Independent People of Biafra, Odua People's Congress, Avengers of Niger Delta, will take a large chunk of the young people there out and train them and start paying them money. In fact, among these 500,000 persons, we are also now reviewing the categorization because of agriculture, which we want everybody now to go back to. We are thinking that about 30,000 of this number will be agri-graduates. We shall train them in extension services or give them refresher courses in extension services and send them out into the local government, into the states, so that they can go and teach farmers how to apply fertilizers, the seedlings that are of high yield and very qualitative, and teach them the newest method in farming procedures. So that's one. We'll go to number two, those who don't have the advantage of going to the university. Everybody thinks that when we talk about unemployment, it's only for graduates. How about the people that we produce every time from the secondary schools? So many of them, they go to say they are doing trading, they are apprentice traders, they are apprentice farmers, they are apprentice drivers. That we want to give them skills. Every state in the federation will target to get 10,000.
Now, let me ask
270,000 of them.
My apologies. Let me just ask you,
so that they can learn how to use their hand. Painters, welders, people who lay tiles, tilers as they call them, masons, tailors, bricklayers.
Okay, Dr. Chris, I get the idea that you're going to be looking at increasing jobs.
For us here.
My apologies. Now, let's look at the budget a little closer. The budget of change, which is from your party, the APC, cannot really succeed at an inflation rate of 13.7%, which is what we are faced with today. You have a social program, about 50 billion naira social program, will actually make it worse and not sustainable in budget 2017. What do you do as the government in this situation? You have a 13.7% inflation rate, and you're going to be spending 500 billion naira within a year as social welfare.
That is why we should go to the area that will be beneficial to Nigerians almost immediately. And that area is farming, agriculture. Agriculture. Mining will need a lot of capital to be invested. Yes, but we're going to mining, but agriculture is the ultimate thing. We have the good climate, we have the good soil, we have arable land all over the place. From Karanomoda up there, down to Lagos, down to the other end in Calabar, Port Harcourt, the lands are all arable. They grow cocoa, they grow palm tree, they grow rice, they grow millet, they grow cotton, they grow groundnut, they grow everything growable. And so Nigerians have to look inwards. Somebody said, are you broke, are we broke, or like Mohammed said, we are broke. We are broke to some extent. The extent of our being broke is that we are broke with money for imports. But there are so many things that are being imported into this country that makes us look foolish as a people. How can we be importing palm oil when our lands are yearning? Give us the palm nut, and we shall grow you a palm tree immediately.
Dr. Chris.
And you produce palm kernel from it, palm kernel oil,
Dr. Ngige.
Palm oil itself.
Dr. Ngige.
Bring out shells that can be used for agricultural feeds, and so many, many, many things.
Dr. Ngige, do you support an increase in the minimum wage being proposed, 56,000 naira, considering the new price regime of 145 naira per litre? Do you support an increase in the minimum wage?
Gimba, when we go to discuss the minimum wage, a lot of parameters, a lot of factors, a lot of indices are put on the table. The major thing which the ILO preaches in minimum wage discussions, because it's a dialogue, it's a tripartite dialogue between the employer, the employees, government. Employers of labor come under NECA, all the associations, MAN, NASIMA, Association of Electricity Producers, all the associations that employ people. Because minimum wage is not confined to government circles alone, not federal government only. State governments, local governments, they are the ones in the government sector. Then you have the unions, and then you have these other private sector employers. So any law that comes out as minimum wage act is binding on all. It has a universal application. So this is what you will now put on the table. As we speak, today, some state governments cannot pay the 18,000. Why are they not able to pay? These are the things that will be discussed. Because it's not only the federal government.
But do you support?
But 25,000.
Do you not agree,
yes.
Dr. Chris Ngige, do you not agree that it is imperative, considering the paralysis, the parameters that we have in the country today, with a 145 naira increase in the pump price of petrol, it only makes sense that you increase worker salaries? Do you agree on that?
Gimba, I have told you that this is a factorial thing. So many things are factored. You factor the fact that it's not only the federal government that will do this payment. For the federal government, I told you we could pay any increase. But on the table, everybody will be convinced that having moved petroleum product from 86.50 to 145, if it stays permanently on 145, everybody will agree that the transportation component of the minimum wage should be raised.
Many thanks indeed, Minister of Labour.
it means
my apologies.
Get of the minimum wage.
My apologies. I'm afraid that we're going to have to leave it at that. The Minister of Labour and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige, many thanks indeed. You're watching State of the Nation at this time. Legislators also have their side to the story. The strike, the subsidy, the solution, only here on State of the Nation. That's when we return. Join us again.